So with Frontier kind of toning down on Planet Zoo DLCs the past year or so, it's no surprise that speculation videos about Planet Zoo 2 have been popping up more and more over the past few months, especially now that we have Planet Coaster 2 and Frontier is working on Jurassic World Evolution 3. We've been talking about a potential date for Planet Zoo 2 for a long time now, wondering when this sequel will actually happen, which I still think is around the end of 2026 or potentially the first half of 2027 if things would be delayed. But I never really spoke about what I think Planet Zoo 2 should actually include, or what will make it a truly exciting game that is just truly worth the hype. Because let's be real, Planet Zoo is already a really good zoo game. Sure, it's missing a few things, but a lot of us agreed over the past few years that if they had added flying birds, aviaries, full aquatic animals with aquariums through some big expansion packs, that would have already made it the ultimate zoo game we've all been dreaming of. But over time, I started to understand why adding some of those core features, especially the really tricky ones, might actually need a proper sequel, especially when looking at things like a pathing tool or other features that are built in this base coding of the game. I do understand that some things you just can't easily change anymore, and you will need a sequel to be able to improve these core coding in the game. I hope this makes sense of what I'm saying here. I'm obviously no game developer, but I try to understand and put myself in their shoes as just a general player, I guess. But yeah, I've honestly just gotten more excited about the idea of Planet Zoo 2 because of the real changes it can bring. So that's why we're here today. In this video, I'm finally going to share all the features, systems, and gameplay I'd absolutely love to see in a sequel to one of my most favorite games ever made. Hey everyone, my name is Deladysigner, and if you're excited for Planet Zoo 2, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below if you are also excited just as I am. And if you're still looking for any Planet Zoo packs, definitely check out the sponsor of our channel, Instant Gaming, where you can get all Planet Zoo DLCs with a fantastic discount. And by buying via their website, you will get a great discount and you will also be supporting the channel. You can find a link in the description of this video and in the pinned message of the comment section so you can easily find it. And good to mention, I also watched some great speculation videos from Rudy Rancamel and Leaf Productions about Planet Zoo 2, so if you haven't seen their stuff yet, definitely go and check them out. I will share their channels in the description of this video. And you actually might hear a few familiar IDs in here because, well, we're all zoo creators and we all love this game. So yeah, sometimes we can only just agree with certain features that we really would love to see being added in the game. Alright, so let's dive in and talk about aviaries, aquariums, babies, zookeeper and guest mode, mini games, and everything else that could make Planet Zoo 2 the zoo simulation game of our dreams. So okay, let's just start with the most obvious. What does Planet Zoo 2 really need as in core features? And I already mentioned it, flying birds and aviaries are, for me personally, definitely one of the things that just must be added. No doubt, I feel like everyone agrees with that. Whenever you go to a zoo, you see flying birds, you see aviaries. We need these animals in a Planet Zoo 2, and I really just hope Frontier is able to bring in this fantastic system of building these aviaries, giving us a really great option to put in our own creativity, but also still to make it easy for people that are maybe not super creative or super handy with these tools to also be able to create beautiful aviaries. I just hope it will be more custom. If I'm looking at the walkthrough exhibits that we have right now, it could work, but then maybe have several several sizes, for example, so you would be able to combine these, or have just something like the restaurants where you are able to just really create your own design and add your own pathing into it. So it's going to be a really custom aviary to your likings, and you're not having restrictions with a square box, for example. I think that would be really fantastic. And the same obviously goes for aquariums. I would love to be able to create a custom aquarium with proper real working tunnels to be able to walk through, like these shark tunnels with beautiful fish and maybe an octopus or something like that, or something like a manatee. And I do want to mention the elephant in the room here. Dolphins, orcas, and those type of animals. I love orcas, guys. Orcas are my most favorite animal of the world ever since I was a kid. I love orcas. But it's a very controversial topic here, and I know that there's a group of people that say like, yeah, but it's just a game, should be possible. Okay, maybe Frontier knows a way. Like, Frontier made it very clear from day one, like they wanna build a zoo game that is all about the modern zoos, and they want to make sure that animals are treated well and they have the right amount of space, and animals like, for example, an orca or dolphins, they don't really fit in here, but you could go very much in depth here as well of like, okay, but polar bears should not belong in here, or elephants, etc. So there is this hard line here, or that fine line of like, okay, but what is still appropriate for a modern zoo and whatnot. I think if Frontier is able to bring in a really important message here about all of these animals and why they should or should not be kept in a zoo, and maybe something with like rehabilitation, then there could maybe be an opening as to why these animals could be added still in a game like Planet Zoo 2. But just as a zoo game and just giving a restriction like, okay, you build a habitat for these animals and it's way too small, like, okay, then make sure that these animals are pretty much not able to survive, so that people will realize. I mean, I learned from Planet Zoo to simply go to a zoo and to realize with some zoos, like, oh, this habitat is actually quite tiny for this animal. And that mostly happens when it's like an older city zoo, and you can tell that over the years they are trying to improve their habitats and make them bigger, but you sometimes still notice like, oh yeah, okay, I would never have known this without Planet Zoo. Like, obviously you somehow realize like, okay, this habitat is maybe too small, but thanks to Planet Zoo, they really made me aware of these things. And I guess they could do the same with orcas and dolphins and all these type of animals. So I know it's a controversial topic, and I'm just very curious to hear your thoughts about this topic. Like, on what side are you on? It's just a game, or are you like, okay, well, maybe there would be an option if it would be implemented very clear. Like, let's keep it clear. I do not want any shows in the game. I don't find that appropriate at all. It's 2025 right now. There should not be any animal shows in the game. Unless it's like very educational, but still there's a hard one here. So yeah, I kind of don't think we should be having shows in the game that at least would not feel real for these animals. Does that make any sense? But yeah, in general, I'm just super curious to hear your thoughts about this. But I'm not going to talk too much about that specific topic. Like, I do want to see aquariums. I want to see beautiful corals, sea plants, and an option to be able to really customize this. I want to see like these water pipes and water treatment almost a factory, which is like backstage. I've been to Burger Zoo, and I had like this backstage tour with some other Planet Zoo community members, which was really neat, really awesome to see. But you don't ever realize when you're just walking through the aquarium itself, like how much is going on in the backstage area, and how many pipes and water treatment, and it's crazy. And I would love to see something that feels real. Like, I do have to admit, like, the water treatment and the electricity doesn't really feel real to me. So if they would be able to, like in Planet Zoo, that is, so if they would be able to implement something like that, that would really feel like how it would be in real life. I would absolutely love some kind of management function like that for the aquarium part. But yeah, I would absolutely love to see animals being added, like sharks and big and small fish and the octopus and whatever other full aquatic animal you can think of. I would really love to see when they add aquariums to the game. Now, one thing that really shows why a sequel to Planet Zoo is needed, and one of the things that I kind of feel like they would never be able to change no matter how hard we ask for it, are the exhibits. So I don't know if you guys ever saw the community voting of the least favorite animals of Planet Zoo, the top 50, I think it was. It was filled with exhibit animals. And clearly that's not because these exhibit animals are horrible in real life or that people don't like these animals in real life, but how they were implemented or how they are implemented in Planet Zoo, they're just boring. Yeah, let's just call it what it is. They're just boring. Yes, it's cool the first time you're looking at it, but they don't move through their animals. They have like this single animation when they're sitting on their spot. There's just not that much to them, and it's such a pity because also as a creative player, I would absolutely love to be able to really decorate these exhibits, but it just never really feels right or something. I've seen a few people create amazing modular exhibits, but the fact that you cannot put your animals in there and they're able to use what you created for them is just such a letdown, honestly. And so yeah, I just really hope that in a Planet Zoo 2, there would be something like even maybe just a modular exhibit, like make it bigger, make it so that we can decide what kind of size we want to have, or just make them all habitat animals. I mean, I don't mind, but I can imagine that especially for the really tiny animals, that would not really be possible. But just think of an iguana. I kind of feel like the iguana could also be implemented in a bigger habitat. So it's a hard one, but I think if they would just go back and think of like a better, more customizable way to add exhibits again, then I think that will be a win. And definitely just make sure that they're going to move around in the habitat and that we have the option to either just with a few clicks like you do right now to just decorate the exhibit, but also give the option for creative players to be able to create those exhibits themselves, be able to upload them so you guys can use them, of course, for your zoo. That will be fantastic. But that the animals will be using your exhibit, and that it will just feel so much more real and so much more like a real zoo. I really would like to see an overhaul of some kind of a modular exhibit, I guess. That will be super amazing. And something else that I really feel like should just be part of the core features for Planet Zoo 2 is like more gameplay. To be able to interact with stuff that you build and of course with the animals, maybe to be able to become a staff member and take over their job so you are able to prepare food or clean their habitat, take animals to the vet, or even be the vet yourself. Something like that would really give you more of the feeling that you would be part of your zoo that you're building. I think something like that would absolutely be amazing, but we're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth as well later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. But first I want to talk about things or features that could work that we now see in other games. So for example, let's go and talk about Planet Coaster 2, even though I have not been playing with Planet Coaster 2 myself the past year. I've been trying to make myself more familiar, at least with all the updates that the game got over the past year, and things that I've heard, and especially looking at, for example, the pathing tool. I know, like, when I started playing Planet Coaster 2, I wasn't really excited about the pathing tool, but it's been improved quite a lot over the year, and many people are super excited about the pathing tool that Planet Coaster 2 has right now, and it makes things so much easier. So yeah, those kind of things would definitely be amazing. Just like scaling, for example, and a scenery brush. I mean, a scenery brush is something that I really missed out on in Planet Zoo. Like, man, how much time it goes into just filling up areas on the outside of your park or around your habitat with trees and bushes and flowers. So a scenery brush in general is just a must, I think, for Planet Zoo 2. But also something that I really enjoy seeing in Planet Coaster 2 is like dynamic light interiors. I'm not really sure if we can call it that way, but like when you now build a closed building in Planet Coaster 2, so when it's really closed off with walls around it, it's actually dark on the inside. When you put down an opening for a door, there's light coming in. It's just a little bit of light. It feels natural. If you make a window, it feels a lot more natural. I mean, just imagine creating a night house in Planet Zoo 2, because right now in Planet Zoo, if you really want to make it dark, especially for us content creators, when you want to make it feel like, hey, you're now stepping into a night house, you always need to change the time to make it like nighttime. And with the system they have in place now with Planet Coaster 2, being able to make dark buildings, oh my goodness, that will be such a freaking game changer in Planet Zoo 2. I would absolutely love to see that. Now, if we, for example, look at Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2, just simple things like having a Jeep where your keepers would be able to drive through your zoo, be able to tranquilize animals this way, or fill feeders this way for the animals. I think things like that, gameplay like that, would be a really cool feature as well. Just like the helicopter thing to maybe transport big animals like elephants and rhinos, and then have maybe a truck that will transport your medium-sized animals, so which you can't carry in your hand. I mean, yeah, okay, it looks kind of funny to see your keeper walking around with like this box, but then there's like a big animal coming out of it, and it's not like a big thing. But if we go for a more realistic approach, I would absolutely love to see something like transporting animals in a more realistic way. I would absolutely love to see that. And I think the next point I want to make is also mentioned by Leaf Productions, and I absolutely love that idea. So imagine like this photography mode. Like we already have that in Jurassic World Evolution, so you can make really beautiful pictures. But if you make it bigger, like maybe have some kind of online challenges, maybe some kind of ranking. I'm trying to imagine like this Sims gallery thing, and then you can see like a zoo name, you can see the creator or the owner of that zoo, and there are like challenges when it comes down to making pictures of animals or making pictures of animals doing something, and people are actually able to vote on these pictures. This could be more of like a mini game thing, but something that sounds really fun. Or like that you would post your pictures on this fictional social media page of your zoo, and then the winner will be able to earn conservation credits or some money, or maybe even special animals. I'm not really sure if that would be the most fun prize for a photography challenge, but yeah, something like that. I hope you guys can see what this could mean, as in some kind of mini game fun thing that will make things a lot more interesting of what you're doing in your zoo. And something else that is really fantastic that is announced for Jurassic World Evolution 3 that just must be added in Planet Zoo 2 are the dynamic waterfalls. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I remember playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and we had like this really neat feature of just point and click, pretty much. Like, okay, this is your mountain. There you want to have water, and then on the other side of the mountain downstairs, you want to have another little lake, and you want to connect that with a waterfall. It was super easy. Like, this is like that feature, but then amazingly upgraded, and it looks freaking fantastic. But not only you have like this steep variation, you can also make like very inclined, or how you say that, like very smooth rivers with actual floating water. Like I mean, I just simply cannot wait to get my hands on this feature in Jurassic World Evolution 3 to really try out what kind of things you can do with these waterfalls. But they look so freaking promising, and something that I would desperately need in Planet Zoo too. So yeah, I would absolutely love that. There's also a nesting thing in Jurassic World Evolution 3, but I do not know too much about that just yet when it comes down to Jurassic World Evolution 3. I didn't feel like diving into that because we also have Prehistoric Kingdom, which I want to talk about, which also has nests. So I'm going to save that for when we talk about Prehistoric Kingdom. But first I want to talk about like Zoo Tycoon 2 and the I think the Ultimate Edition of Zoo Tycoon. These are things that Leave mentioned, and I just want to mention them as well because they are really, really fun little things that could indeed make this game a lot more interesting when it comes down to like this mini challenges and stuff to, yeah, just give more variety into this zoo game. And one thing that he mentioned, like I didn't play with that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but he mentioned something like you were able to find bones throughout your zoo, and then you would be able to make skeletons, and with that you would be able to unlock like these weird animals to play with. Now clearly that's also probably a little bit because they had like these extinct animals. So this is obviously still a modern zoo with real life animals. There are pretty much no extinct animals in Planet Zoo unless it's extinct in the wild animals, if you know what I mean. But I find that super interesting, and it would be really nice to see Frontier just get out of the box a little bit and see if there would be like these mini challenges that would make the game more interesting and to give this a fun twist to the game, if you know what I mean. And other things that you will be able to do in these older zoo games, Zoo Tycoon, the Ultimate Edition, Zoo Tycoon 2, or like getting into a zookeeper mode. So you will be able to take care of the animals, clean animals, feed the animals, kick a ball, play with the animals, wash animals with hoses. Those kind of things, I can totally imagine that people would absolutely love to get into a zookeeper mode, to just be able to become one with the zoo that you create and to really experience it as if you are a zookeeper. But the same goes for like a guest mode, but I will get back to that as well in a bit. But I just wanted to mention this as an example of older games, that things that could be added in the game. But there will be more things to talk about when it comes down to zookeeper mode. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about Prehistoric Kingdom, because I jumped back into Prehistoric Kingdom after 3 years, made a video about it, because I really wanted to see what kind of updates they released over the past years or so. And they actually added some really neat things. So they first off added breeding seasons, which means that some animals are just only able to breed in a certain season, which is actually really neat, something that we don't have in Planet Zoo right now. So I would absolutely love to see that. But something else that they also have is like nest building. Now, this would only obviously work for animals that would lay eggs. Eggs is something that I really want in Planet Zoo too. So yes, nests or eggs in general, but nest building is fantastic. Like you see in my video, you see a T-Rex like using his legs, paws to make that nest. They are guarding the nest. I'm not really sure. They're not pretty much sitting down on the nest. I kind of feel like it was only sitting down to lay the eggs, but like for birds, I would obviously love to see them sitting down on the nest quite often to really make sure that the eggs are able to incubate, something like that. I would really love to see that. But yeah, they were guarding the nest, but the animals also had to take care of their nest. If they did not take good care of their nest, the eggs, for example, would not hatch. So there's actually also some kind of challenge also for the animals to, hey, you need to take care of your babies, or you need to take care of your eggs before they actually hatch, and it could also become unsuccessful. So it's just that gameplay part around it and making it important. Like, I kind of feel like breeding in Planet Zoo is pretty easy. So when the game says like reproduction is difficult in captivity, it pretty much just means like you maybe need to wait a little bit longer for them to become pregnant. But if they would go a lot more in depth when it comes down to that and have like these breeding seasons and when things could go wrong as well, more realistically, I would really like to see them go more in depth into anything that comes down with breeding, nests, eggs, whatever. I would really love to see that. But I do want to talk about that a little bit more later on, where we're going to talk about animal life and realism in general. So definitely stay tuned for that. But something else I first want to talk about is the gameplay and immersion systems. So I already mentioned mini games. Like, for example, apart from becoming a zookeeper, which is really awesome, you also could have like this first person camera mode. But okay, let's talk about that keeper first. So think of, for example, a keeper that needs to bond with an animal that just came into the zoo, and to be able to, okay, train is a hard word, but train it for like daily or weekly checkups just to see if the animal is healthy. So, okay, training is not like training for shows, okay? But you know what I mean? Like, for example, this could be used for elephants when they need to check their paws, feet, giraffes because they need to check if everything, if their teeth are going well, or rhinos, but also for like smaller animals like rat pandas, lemurs, gorillas, for them to show their teeth, and to just in general do healthy checkups, and to make sure as a vet or as a keeper to know when to ring the alarm when things are not going too well or that they need certain treatment. Something like that I would absolutely love to see in the game. I'm not really sure. It might be a far-fetch, but it will be really cool. And it will be really cool to be able to become that keeper as well. To do that yourself, to get that bond with that animal, so that taking care of that animal as a keeper would become easier to do, which would bring more satisfaction to the animal and also to your keeper, for example. But when looking at like a guest camera mode or be a guest, it would, another thing from Leaf, I'm sorry, but it's just so fantastic to see what great ideas he had. But he mentioned something like animal tracking highlight, so which is an easy way to be able to see the animal. So for example, that you're just standing in front of a habitat and you're not able to see the animal, so that you are able to have like this little highlight, or to click a button and then the animal would highlight up, so you see the animal, so you know where to look, even though it's not really realistic. I mean, we can't do that in real life, but I don't know, it's just that small little thing that would make it a lot more fun to walk around in your own zoo, I guess. But also, just imagine interacting with animals. And I'm not meaning like the animals are going to handshake you, or that you could do these kind of things, or like feed them, even though that could be a thing. Like have these, I mean, they went to San Diego Zoo for the launch of Planet Zoo with a few content creators. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but they had like this experience of being able to feed giraffes or feed rhinos, and super awesome things. So that could be a thing, like as an extension to the keeper tours that we have, for example, or the educational tours, I mean, and that guest could be able to buy a ticket for an experience like that. That would be just super amazing. And if you then would be able to become that trainer or the educator or the guest and experience that yourself would be really awesome. But the interaction that I actually am talking about is, for example, you go and walk into a walkthrough exhibit with flying birds. You walk in, and whenever I go to a zoo, that does sometimes happen, that the birds are responding and they're flying away from the guests with a lot of noise. Or some birds are just going to sit down and just look at you, and you're just like, okay, are you going to do something or not? Which is maybe a little bit scary even, but like in a good way. It's just fantastic to see some birds just not be scared of you and trying to make eye contact and just look at you like, you look weird. What kind of bird are you? You know what I mean? No, but honestly, or just have an underwater viewing gallery, and you have sea lions swimming on the other side of the window, or penguins, for example, and you are standing there as a guest or walking around as a kid, and the animals are reacting to you. You see the animals looking at you and they're following your movements. You know what I mean? Something like that. And the same could go for monkeys that would be able to react with the guests. And if you would be that guest, it would really make you feel like a guest in your own zoo. And it would be even more fantastic whenever you are in that camera mode, that these interactions will be triggered pretty much. So there will be extra animations whenever you are in that camera mode. So it will be just a really awesome experience to be in a guest mode like that. So now let's talk a little bit more about the animal life and realism. Now, one thing that I was so freaking hyped and excited about was the animation of the Tasmanian devil. Now, I called it a birth animation because it almost feels that way, but if you know Tasmanian devils, it's pretty much just their baby Joey, isn't it Joey, coming out of their pouch. But that animation just freaked me out because it just felt so much more real and so fantastic. Like, obviously, it's a no-brainer that most of us, or I think every one of us, just wants to see an animal being pregnant, laying down, have real birth, even though I can understand that it doesn't have to be super gross. But I think the Tasmanian devil shows that it could definitely work, but also make it more realistic. Have the babies actually be born from their moms, have them being fed by their moms, have them gradually growing. What happens right now, it's all right, but like the animal sometimes just keeps on standing, or it just lays down and then poof, an animal of an older stage runs away, and okay, there's your baby animal. And I don't know how many of you saw my Farming Simulator 25 video. Like, obviously that game is not made for the animal animations, and it's not a zoo game. It's really simple when it comes down to the animations, but the animations that they do have are just fantastic. Like, you have the tiniest babies and they're just standing on their paws. Okay, you guys do not imagine, but I'm standing while recording here, so I'm doing all these kind of weird movements which you cannot see, but okay, their babies just standing on their paws and they're just wobbly and wiggly, and maybe they fall a little bit down on the floor again because they just don't have a hang of it yet. They're really babies. They're trying to stand for the first time. That would be just so freaking neat to be able to see. Babies being born, babies being fed by their moms and by their moms and dads, by their moms, and then they gradually grow, and then at some point, like just real life experience, they gradually grow, and then at some point they go and try to stand up. They have a hard time with learning that. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I just would love to see that. I would so much enjoy having this realism being added in a Planet Zoo 2, I think that would be just so freaking fantastic. So then have these babies gradually grow and then play with their siblings, and it all just feels so much more natural in instead of like what happens right now. It's all pretty static when you have babies being born in Planet Zoo. And I don't get me wrong, I love the game, but having this with baby animals and all these different stages and go more in depth with that and realism, I would totally sign up for that. That would be like really amazing to see in Planet Zoo 2. Something else that I would love to see added is like more real sickness effects in the game. Like right now, I kind of feel like sickness is just sickness. I don't know what it is. It's like, okay, an animal has a sickness. Oh no, you need to do research for this animal. Okay, you did your research. Okay, bring that animal to the vet. Okay, sickness is cured. There's just not much to it. And I can understand, like in real life, thank goodness, animals will not get sick super often, but like making this more of a realistic thing that maybe happens more often than in a real life zoo, but have animals really get sick or have animals really throw up, maybe even that you have to become a vet to recognize these symptoms earlier, for example. So that would also bring a little bit more challenge. So you weekly need to go and be a vet and just go around and check all your animals to recognize that. And if you don't want to go into that much gameplay, then obviously at some point you will get a message like, hey, this animal is being sick. You need to take it to like this backstage area for the vet, where there is a separate habitat or a separate area that the animal is being taken care of. And you do need to do the research, of course, to be able to cure these animals, maybe collecting samples for research, etc. Like have something more in depth when it comes down to real sickness effects, and also be able to see that as a player, to see like, oh, this animal is not doing so well. And if you didn't get the message just yet, then just make sure you will call that vet and be sure to make sure that that vet is going to take care of this animal. And I don't know, something like that I would really love to see. So now I want to talk about like more customizable things, stuff that I feel like could be upgraded, or different type of building systems, gameplay elements, like for example, weather. I really do love the weather that we have in Planet Zoo, how it affects buildings, how it looks like on the inside. It's not raining, on the outside it's raining. Like you do see the effect, you see the puddles on the floor. Like the rain and snow in Planet Zoo look fantastic. I love the different ambience when it gives, also when it's more cloudy or more sunny, and it's fantastic. The only downside right now of the weather effects is that guests are not wearing proper cold clothes, so they're walking in their summer clothing when it's snowing. Like that's super weird. But I kind of started to live with that, I guess. But if you look at Planet Coaster 2, for example, and the rain, it was like, what? It didn't even feel slightly the same ambiance that it has in Planet Zoo. But okay, that's the side note. Let's not talk about Planet Coaster 2, but the weather I already really like in Planet Zoo. But obviously in some regions you, for example, have hurricanes or like actual snowstorms, making indoor habitats even more important. I would absolutely love some kind of more in-depth gameplay to make it more important, to make your habitats and your indoor areas more hurricane proof. Like obviously it's an optional gameplay feature, of course. So you don't have to play with that if you don't want to, but having the obligation to make more stronger buildings and the obligation to just make an indoor habitat because of these kind of weather effects, I would really, really love to see something like that. Same goes for better maps. I'm not really sure. It's something that, like with Planet Coaster 1, for example, we've been asking for islands and just a backdrop or a map that makes it feel like you're in a city. We never got that in Planet Coaster 1. Well, actually, with the Ghostbusters pack, we kind of got some kind of city backdrop in one corner, if I remember correctly. With Planet Zoo, we got the diorama, so you would kind of be able to make it feel like an island, but we never got this sea map with just an island. Now we kind of did get that with, I think it was the Oceania pack, where you have a semi-island map. It's not really my personal favorite biome, but I would just really love to see more island maps. Give me a few tropical island maps, a few temperate biome island maps, etc. And the same goes for the city backdrops or city backgrounds. I think it will be just really awesome to have a real city vibe, and that you're building a real city inside a real zoo inside of a city, something like that. Better maps. I guess you guys know what I'm trying to say here. But other like smaller things that I would really love to see changed or added in Planet Tutu is hide donation boxes, or like right now I put them in the ground with a mod if I'm using mods, but simply make it an option to make them invisible or something, so you can choose what you want to do with them, or if you want to hide them or where you want to hide them. Like the donation boxes, I do understand for a management and gameplay mode of view, you need money, you need to earn that money. So, okay, I get that there has to be a system for people to earn money, but I just never saw these donation boxes in real life. So why? Like, I pay a ticket, I go to a zoo, I pay a ticket price, and that's it. That's it. I just pay a ticket. I don't see donation boxes. Yeah, okay, maybe sometimes you have a donation box, which is also tied to some kind of a really good cause. But that's it. I don't know, you can do like the donation packs, but that's also in the game. But that's it. So if there would be any way to hide those hideous big donation boxes, please do so. Also, something I really want to see are more generic signs and pieces to create educational boards. Or like maybe, I don't know, some kind of cool in-game educator sign editor to create custom educational signs, to be able to make it easier to create these custom signs or custom educational signs. Maybe even to be able to upload them to the Steam Workshop as well, with a combination of like, okay, what region is and where some information about the animal, but have it in a more easier way. I'm not entirely sure, like the signs that we have right now, it's just not providing me with the vibe that I really want to try to create, unless I create an entire billboard myself. I hope this makes sense of what I'm trying to say here, but I would love to see some kind of education sign editor in the game that makes it easier to create really awesome signs without me having to jump into a Photoshop or something like that. I would love to see more realistic feeders and water troughs. I think I've mentioned the water pipe for years on my channel already, how much I hate it, but there are so many really fantastic feeders that you see in real life that I kind of feel like should be just added in Planet Zoo 2 as like standard feeders. Just give me more realistic options. I like the options that we have, but give us more realistic feeders. I really like that, and I think it's a pity that right now you need to go to the Steam Workshop to download these amazing feeders that other people create, which I kind of feel like they're just a no-brainer as well. Like they should just be added as a standard option in the game, because they're realistic feeders you see in a zoo as well. So yeah, I would love to see that. Also, more statues. And then definitely, I've mentioned this also a few times already, so I'm not going to go too much in depth with that, but I just want to have all animals, all statues in the same style, be able to maybe just recolor them, make them classical statues, I guess, and then be able to recolor them so they fit in pretty much every area. Maybe when we have like the resizing, the rescaling, it's just perfect. You can make them smaller, you can make them bigger, you can use them wherever. I just want to have statues for all the animals, because that's something that I'm really missing now in Planet Zoo, especially with the newer packs. They definitely did give, no, they did not give more statues, they give more signs, but not statues. So I just plead for statues, animal statues from all the animals, no exception. Please give me that. And then, of course, multiple habitat gates. What else do I need to say? I just want to have a habitat gate on one side and a habitat gate on the other side, or maybe even more of them, to make it easier to create habitats and not be tied to only one habitat. I think creative-wise, it makes so much sense to be able to add multiple gates to a habitat. So yeah. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. And something else that doesn't need more explanation, I would love to see more custom billboards with habitat backdrop options. So right now, I know that at some point someone was able to get like the backdrops from the exhibits. So the tropical one and the desert one and the grassland and wetlands one, and was able to like convert them to billboards that you can use for the square billboards. They are flipped, so you can keep connecting them. I would love to see those kind of backdrops with more variations added by Frontier already, so by them in advance, so I don't have to upload them myself. I would love to see some backdrops with different biomes, which would make life so much easier for so many creators to be able to create a better backdrop, because sometimes it can be really hard, and I can imagine, especially if you're playing on a console edition and you don't have an option at all to add a backdrop, and it's just sometimes really hard to find backdrops. So if Frontier is able to help us with these type of biome backdrops, that will be really neat for Planet Zoo 2. Something else that might be fun to add to a Planet Zoo 2, and to also bring back people in between packs, would be like more focus on these mini challenges. So right now we obviously have these franchise challenges where you breed certain type of animals, and then you will get, as a reward, you get like a special or high rated animal or something like that. But at some point, I kind of feel like these animals are fantastic, but it's not like super hard to get these animals, if you know what I mean. So is that really a reason why people would jump back into the game to work on that challenge? I guess it's more like that people want to join that challenge because they like the challenge in general. They're probably not even doing it because of the animal reward. But just imagine having challenges that would earn you, for example, a special animal patterns, or special pieces, or some kind of highly requested decorational pieces, or staff clothing maybe, or gift shop stuff, or certain animations that will be, I'm not entirely sure about the animation, I'm just thinking out loud here, okay? So yeah, it doesn't always maybe make sense, but I'm just, also with this whole video, I'm just trying to share my thoughts here, but also really hope and hope to see that it will trigger your thoughts and will inspire you to maybe think like, oh, but that's a fun idea, but what if they would actually change it to this and that? So feel free to just add to this. Like, I'm just trying to ramble here, I guess. But just to think like, okay, what could bring people back into a game on a more frequent basis? But these franchise challenges would definitely work for that, I guess, but give it more interesting prizes. Like, I do remember that I at some point did receive an albino animal, but maybe if it would be like an even more special pattern, and you would would be able to unlock it when playing these challenges. I don't know, I'm just super curious, like, what do you even like this idea of what I'm saying, like different color patterns? Or I'm not really sure about the animals. I guess animals, maybe once in a year you have like the special anniversary challenge, and if you complete that challenge, there is this one animal. But as long as it's free, then I guess it could work. But still, like, for people that are just simply not able to join that challenge, then it will be super sad. Or like they would say like, okay, you are able to unlock this animal right now. If you wouldn't be able to do that, then you will receive it in a year after or so. But people that are able to do the challenge, they are able to get that animal earlier. I don't know, something like that. But the color patterns or some kind of pieces, I guess that could definitely be a thing. Or maybe enrichment items, for example, that have a different look could also be a thing. Or maybe some kind of type of food that you are able to sell in your shops, for example. I think there are definitely some really great options and ways to make people more excited about these franchise breeding challenges, for example. And before we wrap up this video, I also just quickly want to point out what I kind of feel like are the base game essentials at launch of a potential Planet Zoo 2, because let's be honest here, Planet Coaster 2, we're missing a lot of features that I kind of just feel like, why didn't you add that at launch? Most of these things are actually added in the past year to the game with 3 updates, but I guess it's good to just talk a little bit about what do we feel like just simply must be in the game when it launches, with no exception whatsoever. I think that gift shops and restaurants should definitely be in there. I've seen the update for the restaurants in Planet Coaster 2, which looks freaking amazing. So obviously we want to have that most upgraded version of the restaurants for Planet Zoo 2, but like taking away the restaurants at launch would just feel super weird to me. So I just hope that that will be a base game essential at launch. Same goes for the educators and the educator tours and the animal talks and the seatings. I do really hope that those will be things that will be added at the base game already. It's been super important and essential for Planet Zoo. It was freaking amazing to see these things added into the game. They will be improved for, like, I can't imagine that Frontier would leave out some of these things because they want to improve it in a way. So they want to give like the educators or the education tours like this whole overhaul. So like it could be a reason why it's not being added into a base game at some point, and because they want to improve it, and because it's not going to be in the state that we know it in Planet Zoo. So yeah, I'm calling it a base game essential, but there can always be reasons why this would not be in the base game when it launches. But if that means that it will be improved later on with really cool improvements, then obviously it does make total sense. But what is a very interesting topic are the amount of animals. And I've seen it with Jurassic World Evolution 2 going to Jurassic World Evolution 3, and I think out of my head, for what I've heard, is like there will be 40 animals. Like Jurassic World Evolution 2 will be reduced with 40 animals, of which we are going to assume that these 40 animals will be it could be a different number, but let's just say 40. And these animals will obviously then later be added with paid DLCs. And clearly, people are not happy with that. People are disappointed about that. They feel like if you're going to make a sequel, you should just add all the base game animals, or all the animals that we have in Jurassic World Evolution 2. They should be in the base game right at launch when the game launches. And I totally understand where these people are coming from. So don't get me wrong here. But, and that's hopefully with the whole video that we were talking about right now makes it clear that imagine, because I obviously don't know if that is going to be the case, but imagine having all the animals and they will all get this birth animation or nesting animation and all these animations of these baby animals gradually growing up, getting these special animations because they are trying to learn to stand on their feet for the first time, etc., etc. The amount of work that will go in each and every animal to go back to all these animals and not only give them a super pretty overhaul of them feeling more realistic, because Planet Zoo base game animals definitely look not as great as the animals that we got along the way with these paid DLCs. Like Frontier got better, but it does mean that they need to go back to all of these animals as well to improve their appearance, to improve their animations, to use AI to create better pathfinding, to make them climb better, to make them dive better. There's so much work going into each and every animal, even when they did not, when they already did do work for these animals in Planet Zoo. It could mean that there's just so much work in there and so many more improved animations and so many more improved things that it will make it worth it, even though they would cut out a few animals from the base game or from the whole entire Planet Zoo game, to cut them out for Planet Zoo 2 packs. I mean, I can totally see why they should need to do that and why they want to do that or why they have to do that, because of time, because of money, because of all of the effort that is going into all of these new animations. And let's make it clear, like all of the wishes that I'm making right now and with the babies and with their small stages, like it could be that Frontier is planning to add that at some point later on, just like they did with like deep diving. I mean, people that started playing Planet Zoo recently do not realize that deep diving was not a thing at the beginning of the game. And slowly but surely, Frontier started to add deep diving for all of these animals. But it takes so much time. Like we need to keep realizing how much time this takes. I think the Now Monitor was one of the last animals. So every free update, every pack that launched came along with a free update. And then there were like maybe 1 or 2 extra animals or a certain species with the same type of animations that they could implement all at once. Like for example, the tigers and or the big cats or the bears. So they were all improved and implemented all at once. But it was only with a few animals each time. We were like, oh, it takes so long. But my goodness, it was worth the wait because the deep diving was absolutely fantastic. And it's such an appreciated feature if you ask me. But yeah, those kind of things could be like baby animations or giving birth to animals. Maybe that is something that will be implemented over the years. And that could be fantastic. I just hope they will. If it's not at launch, I just hope they will be adding those kind of things later on and would bring so much more love and realism to the game. I think that would be so fantastic. But yeah, to get back to the question, like, would I understand, like we have now 200 plus animals in Planet Zoo, would I understand if the base game would be, say, 150 animals, for example, that we all know now from Planet Zoo 1? Yeah, I would totally understand that because I do realize how much work and effort goes into creating these animals. And if this means that we will get otters in a paid DLC with like crazy amount of amazing animations and new features that we could only wish for in Planet Zoo 1, yeah, I guess I don't mind that. I guess I would absolutely love to play or pay again for that otter. I just hope, and I kind of think Frontier will make them worth it. So I think we can trust them for that. But time will tell. We will wait and see with Jurassic World Evolution 3 how much it will be worth it. But yeah, I I do have faith in that for Frontier. So my final thoughts about a Planet Zoo 2 and what I do hope for the launch, if we will see it at the end of 2026 or the beginning of 2027, I just really hope that the base game will feel more complete than we saw with Planet Coaster 2, of which we really felt like so many important features and things were missing, and it just didn't feel right. Like, I understand when things will be missing because they are planning to bring back this feature in a more better way. I just hope that the balance will be right, but most importantly, that the game will run well when it launches. I kind of feel like that's the most important thing. We saw it a little bit with Planet Zoo as well, but not in a state like it was with Planet Coaster 2. We saw City Skylines 2 also be quite a disaster, especially performance-wise. So those are the kind of things that I'm really worried about, and I just really, really do hope that Frontier will keep this in mind and will learn from this. I'd rather see a game being delayed for half a year or so and just have a really fantastic launch with tons of players that are just super happy and super excited from day one, instead of having this group of people that are disappointed because they're not able to play because of the performance issues or something else, and they just will never return again. I think that's just the biggest issue with a lot of game releases at this point. Like, it kind of feels like you have one chance and you should not ruin that chance. And like, for everyone, like not only for the players and the game developer, like for everyone, it's just super important to have a launch that will just freaking rock, because that is going to help the whole entire game just grow. It will grow financially, it will grow with trust, it will grow with excitement, the excitement will grow because people are telling others like, oh, you should check out this game, it's so good, it's so fantastic, instead of like, oh man, I tried this game and it just sucks and it's just not running well. Like, oh yeah, don't touch that game, man. Don't buy that game. You know what I mean? It's just in everyone's interest to have a solid and good running game at launch. So whatever happens, Frontier, I just really, really do hope that whenever, and hopefully we will get a Planet Zoo 2, it will be good and it will be exciting and it will run for many years and it will not lose players because of things that could have been better at launch. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's definitely my biggest hope and my biggest concerns for a new game, because Planet Zoo was amazing and it was so sad to see so many people that left in the first few weeks because they were disappointed, and they all should just be able to enjoy this game and to come back to the game after a year or two and still be like, oh wow, what a fantastic game, I just love this game so much. And one other thing that I just really do hope that will never happen is that they will hold content for a Planet Zoo 3. I mean, let's just face it. We have Jurassic World Evolution 1, 2, and 3. We have Planet Coaster 1 and 2. We know that there's a Planet Zoo 2 coming, but I just really hope that they're not being like, okay, we're gonna make a Planet Zoo 2, but we're only going to add aviaries and flying birds. But now the full aquatic animals, they will never enter the game for the next 5 years. You will have to wait for Planet Zoo 3. Please do not do this. If there will ever be a Planet Zoo 3 in 10 years or whatnot, I just hope it will be an even better fantastic games with the newest tag, and that people will just be super excited whenever that will drop. But I just really hope that will not feel like, oh yeah, they just left out these type of animals or these type of the aviaries or the aquariums. But I kind of feel like the aquariums will be like the thing because of the water parks and Planet Coaster 2. I don't know, I just feel like the aquariums will be the main feature of a Planet Zoo 2. But yeah, you know what I mean, right? What will be the dream scenario, I guess, will be that in 10 years, for example, we have Planet Coaster 3 and Planet Zoo 3, and optionally, you will be able to combine these games and to play these games together. You won't have to, you can just choose to go and play Planet Coaster 3, or you can just choose to play Planet Zoo 3. But optionally, you will be able to combine theme parks, water parks, and zoos together in just one big universe. If that would be the ultimate goal for the third, is that on the sequel? The third game in row, I would totally sign up for that. I mean, that will be the ultimate dream, I guess. And I somehow can only imagine that that would also be the ultimate dream for Frontier itself. But yeah, I just really hope that we'll not be cutting out certain features. Like, it could be just improved features from a Planet Zoo 2, and that it will just make an even more fantastic new game as well. But okay, enough talking about that. I guess you guys get the point. The general message here is I'm excited and I'm ready for a Planet Zoo 2, and looking at all of the financial reports and all the statements made by Frontier Developments, it's a no-brainer. Planet Zoo 2 is coming at some point, whether it's in a year or in 2 years. I think it is sooner than later, and I'm just super excited for it. And I just really hope that maybe they're watching this video right now and they're like making notes like, that's a great idea, lady. That's a great idea, lady. Who knows? They might be doing that. But yeah, so many exciting things to talk about. And I'm probably going to upload this video and be like, shoo, I should have mentioned this and that as well. And you guys are probably listening. If you're still listening to this video, let me know. Hashtag Planet Zoo Love in the comments down below. I just really would love to know, like, if this video is inspiring you guys and triggering you guys in your thoughts and ideas about, this will be fantastic for Planet Zoo 2, and this would also be fantastic, or I would love to see this change from Planet Zoo, or I would love to see this or that being implemented from Planet Coaster 2 or Jurassic World Evolution 3 or maybe Prehistoric Kingdom. Let me know in the comments down below. Let's just have a really fun and open speculation, discussion, and wishful thinking of all of the things that we would love to see in Planet Zoo 2 that would make this game the ultimate zoo game that we're all excited about. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave a like at this video if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. If you want to see more Planet Zoo content on the channel, I definitely have you covered. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to my rambling here. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really do hope to see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!